Welcome to the Christian Dad Podcast, your place for encouragement and practical tips to be an awesome dad. Today, I'm super excited because I have the very happy Arlene Pelicane, who is the host of the Happy Home Podcast. Arlene, my sweet wife, welcome.
This is fun. I get to ask you questions on the Christian Dad Podcast. I am very excited about this. And I can attest that you are a very good Christian dad to our 16, 19, and 21-year-old. So we're going to talk about leadership today. So let's start with this question. What does unhealthy leadership look like?
All righty. Well, I think we all know what it looks like. In the workplace, I think all of us have been exposed to two types of unhealthy, toxic leadership. I'm going to break those down into two parts. One would be the harsh. We've all seen the harsh where it's just ugly. It's just in your face. It doesn't give a lot of options. It's just do it my way or the highway. It's just harsh. It's kind of like demeaning in a sense. There's that aspect. And that side usually gets a lot of the attention because it's loud. It's in your face, right? It's confrontational. It's just harsh. It's constant criticism, whatever the case is, moody, whatever. I think we've all experienced that at one time. But what doesn't get as much attention is the softer side of toxic leadership. And you can call that permissive, you can call that neutral, you can call that absent, where someone really isn't providing the necessary leadership that's needed.
So it can be loud, but it also can be quiet.
Yes,
we think it can just be loud, but it also can be very quiet. What do you think is at the heart of the toxic? You hear toxic all the time. Oh, that's so toxic. Yeah. You're so toxic. What do you think is at the heart of an actually, truly toxic leader?
The heart of both toxic leaderships, whether it be the loud, the harsh one, or we'll call it the neutral parent. I switched from leader to parent because that's what we are. We are parents, is the heart. And what I mean by the heart is, what does it stroke? So for the harsh parent, we'll go there for a second, then we'll go to the neutral. For the harsh parent, that would be, there's some kind of, when you stop and think about it, maybe ego. Ego is there. Like they want their kids to be really, really good because it's a reflection. They're like billboards of themselves and what college they get into. It's really, really important to them. But most likely the time that what's going on with the harshness is really fear. The parents are really scared internally that life is going to be really hard on their kids. Maybe they grew up hard and they just don't want that harsh reality for their children. So they're going to be really hard on their kids to kind of help them in a sense. So they provide a tremendous degree of structure. So that's that side of it. Let's go look at the low-keyed one or the neutral one. That one too, as well, is really, really funny, is selfishness. Because they're not asking a fundamental question. Two questions. First question is what? Well, really three. What does God call me to do? Number two was, what does my spouse need from me? And thirdly, what do my kids need from me? So it's really not about me. So if my kids need structure, if they need guidance, and I'm not providing that for them because I'm going to let them figure it out, or I'm going to be a neutral dad, that just seems to go toxic really, really fast. It really does.
So this is a very, I think, a topic that's not really touched on.
Yeah.
Is we think of the toxicity of you said something wrong.
Yes.
This is the toxicity of you didn't say anything at all.
100%.
So, and even what you just said, a toxic leader then would be very self-centered. And then an untoxic, healthy leader is more like, hey, what does my wife need? What do my kids need? And by leader, I mean parent leader. Okay.
Yeah, and that would be a servant leader. So the servant leader is not asking those, I should say the selfish leader who is toxic doesn't ask those questions. What does God call me to do? What does my wife need from me? Absolutely. What do my kids need?
That's kind of a good test to be like, oh, am I being toxic right now? But if you're asking, what does God want from me? What does my wife need right now? What do my kids need? And by not being toxic, that's not the same as being popular, right? Because now you think like, oh, if I don't do what my kids want me to do, I'm a toxic leader. But that's not what that is, right?
100%. When during COVID, everyone was happy to do COVID until I realized like, oh my goodness, the whole world is going to shut down. And I went to Home Depot and I came back with 15 gallons of paint.
Yes, you did.
There needed to be some leadership. Structure.
See, some people would call that is toxic leadership. You made your kids into slaves, but it was actually fine. That was actual good leadership. It's so funny.
Absolutely. Just
Our
provides
fence looks
structure.
great, guys. Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about like in the husband-wife relationship,
Yeah.
how does absent leadership, wives talk about this all the time. Like, I wish my husband would be fill in the
Yes.
blank, more
Yes.
involved in spiritual matters, more
Yes.
involved in raising the kids, more involved in supporting me and like saying kind words to me. When that leadership isn't there from the husband, how does that impact his wife?
Oh, the truth of the matter is they gotta pick up the burden. They gotta pick up the slack because of whatever reason, selfishness. I'm going to say that's the reason they're not doing their job, and they're not doing their job. I mean, the Bible says very clearly in Ephesians, fathers, don't exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in training and instruction, mind and actions. I mean, they really is a job description for us. So we have like a burden. So what does this affect the spouse? It creates, this is the interesting thing about it, both forms of toxic leadership, whether it be I'm drawing a blank here.
Super harsh,
Yeah,
or
harsh
neutral.
or neutral, both develop resentment. Whether it be in the spouse or the kids, the resentment is coming.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but true.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. So I think that now let me ask you the same question, Arlene. What do you see from your moms when dad isn't, coming to the plate, having that awkward conversation with their daughter, or providing the necessary, guardrails with the son who's hanging out with the wrong crowd, or spending too much time on the, games or whatnot? What does a typical mom think?
The mom feels totally overwhelmed. I have to do this myself. My husband is not helping me with this. In fact, he may be opposing me. Maybe I'm trying to say like, hey, just video games on the weekends. And dad is like, hey, we're going to play on, what's wrong? We're going to play on a weeknight. So now you're at odds sometimes. And then the wife can feel, because she's overwhelmed, she can feel resentful, bitter, complaining, and feel justified. Like she feels justified. Like, I am going to complain about my husband because he is not there. And that just spirals so quickly, right? It'd be like a crazy cycle of Emerson Eggerichs would talk about. So she feels overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And because she feels that way, she feels hopeless. She will then escape because she thinks like, I'm overwhelmed. So now she's doing something to escape, whether it's eating, getting busy on social media. She's going to escape that because she doesn't feel good in that space. So it really, if you're fortunate enough to have a husband and wife, that team that are raising kids together, for both to be communicating and involved, like that really, really helps. Because women, I think, get resentful. Like, I do all this stuff and my husband doesn't do it.
Yeah. So there is a necessity for the husband to provide leadership in the home in terms of fun. There's this lady named Diane Baumrind, and she looked at two areas, structure and warmth. And she has a couple classifications of parents. One thing I want to point out is the permissive parent. The permissive parent provides a high degree of warmth, lots of love, wonderful love. They love their kids, and they do, but they have very low structure. Very, rules, no consequences. The truth of the matter is this permissive parent, they themselves are exhausted, depressed, and burnt out. They are. They're just
the kids are just calling the shots and running them ragged.
Yeah, not only the kids running them ragged, their workers running them ragged. So they don't have any energy coming to their own spouse, to their own marriage. And they don't realize as they play the movie is they create kids that have a very low frustration tolerance. They never got the word no. So these would be the technical snowflakes that milked very quickly. And they have emotional meltdowns. They have avoidant tendencies, and they're quitters. They have low persistence. They don't have that quality of grit.
Yeah.
And the parents don't realize this. They created this. They created this because they themselves are exhausted. Right. So they've created this themselves. And it's really sad to see these kids grow up. And these types of kids actually have a really hard time making friends and keeping friends because they come across as entitled. And when things upset them, they just quit. It's really sad.
So the dad's absent leadership, we kind of talked about that in the
Yes.
marriage, but also when it's with the kids, because
Yes.
what tends to happen, it's not always this way, but women, the moms tend to give the warmth
Yes.
and the dads tend to give the structure. Not always, but in many, dads are really good at structure and moms are really good at warmth. And
Yes.
so if we have that dad abdicating that structure, saying like, oh, I guess my wife is going to take care of everything, I'm just going to tap out, then we have all this softness and not enough rigidity for a
Yes.
kid to have challenge in their life. So dads, my goodness, you're so important. Okay, so what are the long-term consequences from your observation? Let's say a child is raised under this neutral leadership from a
Yeah.
dad. What
Yeah.
happens?
Well, I want to go to the other side of the moon first.
Mhm.
When there are clear expectations and there's emotional support, so there's structure as well
Yeah.
as warmth,
Yeah.
the science is out. After decades of research, we have better academic performance, high levels of self control, low levels of anxiety and depression. I mean, the science is out now. So to answer your question, when we see these kids that don't have these boundaries, they feel like the mom does. They're kind of frustrated internally. And they push and kick against the rules. But the truth of the matter is we all feel safer inside the rules
Mhm.
when we know what the rules are. So and the kids love these rules, these every canvas has a boundary because this boundary creates the creativity. It's very, very important to create the
Mm.
structure in which the kids can thrive in. And again, I'm going to go back to the fact that we have a mandate based upon Deuteronomy 6
Mhm.
and Ephesians that we're not to exasperate our children. And I believe you can exasperate your children. We think of that as being harsh. I think you can exasperate
Mm.
your kids by not providing the training and the instruction. It's both the mindset and the habits and the actions, the
Yeah.
behaviors. So essential for the dad to do it. And really important, sorry guys, it's not the responsibility of your church children's pastor, your principal, or your child's teacher. The Bible doesn't say any of that. It is your responsibility.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my little soapbox.
No,
But
it's right.
it's our responsibility. I'm the principal. I'm responsible for the way my kids develop. Nobody
Mhm.
else is. So I had a friend of mine. He's like, "Oh, James, my kid's really, really struggling in school." And I was like, "What are you going to do about that?" "Well, I'm going to talk to his teacher." Really? Is it 1 out of 40? That's really going to do a big difference. I mean, it's like 40 kids in the class. You got to talk to the teacher. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
We cannot abdicate this responsibility and be permissive in a sense. We have to provide this necessary structure. And part of this too is I think there's something inside of all of us that doesn't like to be the heavy.
Mhm.
Like we want to be liked. I want to be liked.
Yes.
So there's this issue inside of all of us. We don't like awkward. We want to avoid conflicts. We don't want to engage in things that are going to be emotionally or draining or something that's intense. Yeah, I don't want to. I want to be
I'm
happy.
hearing like this wholeheartedness. So it's the whole child that you are responsible for as a
Yes.
dad, not like, oh, the educational part, the intellectual part, that's the school's job. No, that is your job. I mean, when our daughter Noelle came home and you were like, you cannot spell. She's in elementary school. And you're like, my daughter has this atrocious spelling. So you didn't talk to the teacher. You were like, oh, on Saturdays, we're going to have academy and we're going to do spelling words. And literally, our kids did spelling words on Saturday mornings because
Yeah.
you were not a neutral parent. And I do thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. No, go ahead.
It's just so important for us to see this opportunity to ask those three questions. What does God call me to be? What does my spouse need from me? And what do each individual child needs
Mm,
from me? And if that's the focus, you're truly a servant leader. If you're the focus, well, I'm not very confrontational. I
yeah.
don't do well with awkwardness. You're a narcissist.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like you have to learn.
We got to learn this. We got to learn it for the sake of our kids. As we play the movie, we have to learn this stuff. It's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Let's talk about the seasons of a child's life.
Yeah.
So if you have like
Yeah.
if you have an elementary school, a middle school, or a high schooler, does this type of leadership change? How do you adapt?
100%. It starts off really strict. It's like a funnel. It starts off really strict in the early years. And the early years are the fun years. Make sure you capitalize on them.
Yeah.
Take the job that gives you less money and more
Mm.
flexibility to be with the kids.
Mm.
Because not only do they want to be with you, they want to be you.
Yeah.
And the window is shutting.
Yeah.
That's
They don't really want to be you when they're 13.
maximize that window. If you don't, you'll never get it back. So that one window of time, there should be a lot of structure, a lot of the thinking in terms of shaping their actions and habits and their thinking process.
Yeah.
Like we taught our kids pretty early along the lines of thinking. The fair in San Diego, that's in Del Mar.
Yeah, that's a
And it
place.
ends on July the 4th.
Nothing fair here, people.
Right? That's part of it. To make sure that these kids didn't, develop the sense of entitlement that there's a part of it that they have to contribute to. Yeah.
What if someone's listening and they're like, well, that's nice, but my kids are now 15 and 17,
Yeah, good
and
point,
I'm
good
just
point.
now hearing you. What would you
Yeah,
say?
yeah. I want to address that question in a second, what the dad can do towards the end. I
Okay.
first think it's appropriate to talk about permissive parenting. I think when we talk about what to do, that we have a calling from God, I think it would be appropriate to talk about an example that did a really bad job at being a parent. And that would be King David. So we see this story in King David in 2 Samuel chapter 13 through 18, where David has multiple kids, but we're going to talk about three of them. Tamar, Amnon, and Absalom. And what's really crazy is this permissive parenting. David is probably exhausted, maybe a little bit depressed. I don't know what he was, but he definitely had a lot of irons in the fire for sure. There's no question about that. And his son Amnon is so entitled, he thinks he can have his sister, and not just have his sister, force himself on his sister, and thinks it's okay. I mean, the thinking is a little bit warped even before he does the action. Maybe that's how all of us commit sins. But anyway, we see this happen. And David, the Bible says very clearly that David actually set it all up. He's like, oh my goodness, Tamar's sick. Amnon's sick. Tamar, go visit him. And he kind of facilitated this whole thing. And he found that she got raped. And then he wanted nothing to do with her. David was frustrated. And you know what he did? Absolutely nothing. And it created 15 years of heartache. We have later Absalom killing his own brother. We see David in tears. We see the kingdom almost being stripped away from David with the civil war. This is the fruits of us not choosing to do anything. We think we're exasperating our children by being harsh on them. Try being absent. The fruits of it are devastating. Our kids need us for us not to do. Like I have a duty. All of us have duties. There's like what do they call it? The standard of care. Right?
Yeah.
As a realtor, as a broker, I have a standard of care I have to exercise for all my clients. There's a standard of care that we have as dads. So we have this burden, this responsibility from God of all places. God gave us these gifts, and we have this duty to not to be permissive parents, not to be neutral parents, but to be the right type of, we'll call it balanced parents that provides the warmth and the structure. Yeah. Fascinating. If we could play the movie differently, if David could change things and have that awkward conversation with his kids.
He dealt with that sin right then and there. Yeah. What you did to her was wrong, and you will lose this, and you will no longer have a place in the kingdom, and I will discipline you. That could have gone completely differently.
He would have enjoyed years and years and years of fun, of unity, of blessing with his son Absalom, who he loved. But he had this really awkward relationship with him, where later on, was it Joab? Joab ended up throwing 3 spears through his heart. I mean, it's just a mess. A mess. And it all can be attributed to the fact that David was permissive.
Yeah. This also, on a hopeful side, also shows you this is David, the man after God's own heart. This is David who is in the line of Jesus. This is David who in the book of Revelation is mentioned, he is coming with the keys of David. Like there is redemption after our mistakes. When we have really made mistakes, we can be transformed. We can start again. If we've been neutral, we can start to act now. And God says, "You're a man after my own heart."
That's where I want to go back to your other question. I think it's really important. There's so many things I have to say along these lines.
Yeah.
Number one is God's not asking for perfection here, guys. I'm not trying to pretend that I'm perfect. I'm not. God's not asking for perfection. But I think there should be a couple of things that we should do when we have realized, oh my goodness, not kind of,
Yeah.
I dropped the ball.
Yeah.
I haven't provided the right structure that my kids need for me. And I think that starts off with an apology to God. God, I'm sorry. I have messed up my job description. And you just repent before God. And then after you do that, then you talk to your spouse and you apologize to her and then ask her the question, what do you need? It's one thing. It's one thing you need from me. And let's see how I do with that one thing in a month's time. And the next step is to have that same apology. Apology is good. Apology is really good with the kids. And I think it would be really, really appropriate to take those kids for a walk. Dr. Andrew Huberman talks about receptors in the eyes. This is clinically proven that when the eye experiences motion, it calms you down, right? It just settles you down. Whether it be on a drive, you're on skis, you're on a bicycle, you're on a walk. When you experience motion, it calms you down. It does. So take the kids for a walk. Just walk with them and talk about stuff that's awkward. I'm really not crazy about the friends you're hanging out with. You're going to think I think the accusation audit is perfect. You're going to hate your dad. You're going to think I'm the heavy. And just throw yourself under the bus. You're really not going to like this. That's the accusation audit.
Yeah.
So I think that would be really appropriate for a dad to do, is to apologize and then start creating that one boundary, then circle back with your wife. How am I doing? This takes some really big chops, guys. But you got to do this for the sake of your kids so that you don't create Absaloms, Amnons, and Tamars in your own home. Seriously, this is the next one. This is the next one that's huge. Play the movie. Play the movie. When I say play the movie, like you have the kids that are little now. Okay, great. So I had Winston. Winston's my dog. Winston came home with these really big paws, huge paws. 8 weeks old, enormous paws, and an enormous nose. My dog was going to be 100 pounds. I knew this. His mom and dad were 100 pounds. It's really important for me to create the structure with a 8-week-old puppy. Well, really a little bit older, but you understand, puppies are just puppies. But as they get older, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, on and on, I created the structure for this dog because I knew he was going to weigh 100 pounds. It's not cute to have a jumping dog that weighs 100 pounds. Play the movie. If you can't get control, if you can't provide the structure for your little one when they're 3, here's a test question. Do you think that's going to be easier when they're 16?
Heaven help us.
Play the movie. Play the movie.
There's no better time than now to make a change.
Right.
There is just no better time.
Yeah. And one last thing I need to say about the seasons. Right now, I'm in the point in my life where I have older kids, my 21-year-old. I'm at the season that's the hardest part of parenting. The hardest part of parenting is shutting up.
The closing mouth season.
And let them yes, that's the hardest part. So the early years, provide the structure and they will soar. If you don't, you'll play the movie. Play the movie, please.
Yeah. Part of that playing the movie. So if that leadership from the dad is absent, what do you think the kids will fill that vacuum with?
Oh, it's not good. It's not good. We've all seen it. It's going to be friends. Girls are going to find love in all the wrong places. It's going to be heartache. Guys are going to start, wanting to be, going to make stupid decisions. And those stupid decisions are easy and harmless when they're young. When they turn 16, they can be very harmful and detrimental for their own future. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We've seen it. We've seen it. And then in addition to that, the way these kids are raised, we've all seen it. They turn into these entitled, emotional meltdown, avoidant children that are they suck all the life out of the room when they show up. It's amazing. Yeah. And the craziness to think of it is, and this is the heavy, sorry. This is heavy. I'm sorry. It's so heavy. Is that we created it.
We made this.
We made it the same way I made my dog not to jump on people.
Well, I made it. People will listen and think, I didn't make that. I didn't tell them to do that, but it's us not correcting.
Yeah.
not modeling, not insisting, oh, son, daughter of mine, you need to look that person in the eye when you talk to them. When we don't do those things, then we did create that child that is just staring down and not engaging with anyone in life. Oh my goodness, this has been amazing. So let's see, as we end, my last question, you've given some already, but just give that encouragement for that dad who's listening, like, okay, I don't want to be a neutral dad anymore, or
Yeah.
I want to kind of put on the heat. Maybe I need to be more warm. Maybe I'm too structured and I need to be more warm. Or maybe I'm the opposite. I need to be more structured. What are a few specific things they can do after listening to this podcast?
You know, the good book says that love covers a multitude of sins. And it's so cool because I'm not a perfect dad, but my kids know that I love them and I push them. And they've risen to the occasion and they still know at the end of the day that I love them, which is really cool. Even when I come home with 15 gallons of paint.
Yeah.
Or we're hiking 30 miles in Yosemite.
Like,
they know.
This would be fun.
And that's another area I think is really cool. The leadership needs to be along the lines of fun. Because all the time, the leadership that I see is the kids. Oh, we're going to baseball. We're going to dance. We're going to this. We're going to this. Whereas the dad saying, no, we're going to do pickleball tonight.
Yeah.
The dad can do that. You can do that, Dad.
Yeah.
No, we're listening to my music. We're listening to my book. That leadership is needed from Dad. So you've been liberated. You've been deputized, if you will, by God, not by me, by God. The other thing I think is really important to hear is that bandwidth. We need more margins in our lives. So I see this happen all the time where someone, they take on a lot, whether it be to pay for their mortgage or there's just too much weight on the bar. There's just too much. It's between the job, the family, the commute, their own diet, whatever the case is, they don't have the bandwidth. Just realize there's seasons in life. I think it's really important. And during the season where your kids are those first years between 0 and 12, you want to make sure that you have the bandwidth to be there.
Yeah.
It's a book read by Fish, and he talked about be there. You really got to be there. Presence makes all the difference in the world when you're really there for your kids. And I'm going to say you're going to get that presence by, first of all, being in God's presence, right? And that will give you the capacity to be in other people's presence. But it needs to be said. And we've all seen this, that whatever, you can have too much church going on. Your kids can end up resenting the church because you're not spending time with them because you're so busy with XYZ event that you can't really be there for them in one way, shape, or form because and I'm not just talking about being there. I'm talking about your emotional energy, right? That's really, really big. People always think about the time commitment. No. Don't think along the lines of time commitment. Think along the lines of the energy commitment. So after I finish doing X, how much energy do I have left for my family? So there needs to be something still in the tank. So I'm going to say this. I got a lot of thoughts in my brain. To wrap this thing up, to be unclear is to be unkind. To be unclear is to be unkind. And we need to provide this kindness for our kids and realize we have a duty to do this. Give yourself the bandwidth. If you've screwed up, confess your sin first and foremost to God. Ask your spouse, join teams with her. You guys are a partnership. Join together to see how you can provide this, not this permissive parents, but this balancing approach where you provide strength or structure and love and warmth. Absolutely. Arlene, I got a question for you. As you're listening to this, what takeaways or what insights do you see? Curious.
I think the big one is just that idea that neutral is negative. Because a lot of times, now obviously this doesn't mean you can't be quiet. Of course you can be quiet. This just means that if your parental style is, I'm kind of out of it. Like I'm neutral, whatever. If that's your style of how you approach things, that is actually that. So that's kind of that's aha. I think there was a Barna research that said that for kids growing up, they do better if they even had a harsh parent that was present, but harsh. Than if they had a parent who was there and not harsh, but absent, like emotionally neutral toward them, that they fared worse in their life. So I think the big aha is, hey, I got to get in the game. I don't want to be neutral. I want to be involved, even if it means making mistakes. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I will be involved.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
That's good. The kids need it. They need you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they need all of you, not just the love. They need the guidance as well.
Yeah, so good. So as you've been listening, if you're like, man, I have more questions, or I wish someone would come alongside of me and help me. Like I didn't have a dad to show me these things, or maybe you don't have a mentor. Maybe you've been listening and you're a single dad. You're doing this on your own, and maybe you're at odds with the other co-parent. All these things still work. Like they still are things, especially I would say as a single dad, to be that voice in your child's life. So James does coaching. So you may not be aware of that. So you can go to happyhomeuniversity.com/coaching, and that link will be in the show notes, and just have an exploration call with James. And that's totally free, and just see if that might be a good fit to sign up for coaching with James. And I really think that one-on-one would make a huge difference in your home. Thank you so much for listening to the Christian Dad Podcast. Until next time.